Shredder's created creeps get a cartoon appearance. Here's a look at the new NECA toys, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Tokka and Rahzar. Based on the classic 1980s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon series, best buds Toka and Rahzar are eating their way through the Big Apple. Can the turtles stop them before the city turns to a dangerous mutant hunter to dash their dreadful dinner date? This set includes 2 7-inch action figures and includes delicious food, accessories, remote control, and interchangeable hands. While these two terrorize Crystal Palace Mall, I'm going to grab the tape measure to see how tall the cartoon-accurate Toka and Rahzar stand. First, Razar. The figure stands at about 6.5 inches in height, or he's roughly about 16.5, almost 17. I'm going to go with 17 centimeters tall. Then for slightly smaller Toka. Toka goes only to about 4.5 inches, because 5 inches is right there after all. And to spin that around, then you're looking at the figure being about 11 centimeters in height. Though the first appearance of these two are obviously in the feature film Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, their cartoon appearance, though, didn't take place till Season 7 in the episode Dirk Savage Mutant Hunter, where actually these two mutants are the result of a mutagen outbreak in a zoo. There's some fan speculation that that's the same mutagen outbreak that did result in the earlier transformations of Rocksteady and Bebop and Ground Chuck and Dirtbag. More speculation than anything else. Obviously, mentioning the fact that they first appeared in Secret of the Ooze, we would have to bring in then the figures that we've already got before from NECA Toys. Here's what Razar looks like next to his movie counterpart. And of course, we have to have space behind him to bring in Toka. Very oversized figures. The ones that I have still in my movie collection that I've got displayed on my shelf, Toka and Rahzar are some of my favorites. I really think that NECA did a fantastic job on these. Now, the color scheme also from Toka and Rahzar in the cartoon appearances that we're looking at in this video, also very heavily inspired by the Playmates figures that we also got years before. And of course, also for comparison, here's what they look like next to Michelangelo. I didn't want to bring Michelangelo in because he actually does use his rope at one point during that episode to tie up Toka. And I thought it also would be fun, seeing as we're talking about Michelangelo and all, to bring in a movie Michelangelo. So you can see, while it's not one that you would display with the cartoon Toka and Rahzar, how it does look like scale-wise, at least if you're displaying them. Also, because we are looking at this set slightly later, it has been recently announced by NECA that they're planning to put out a Dirk Savage figure. I'm really excited for that because I'm looking to display them along with the Toka and Rahzar we're about to have a look at in this video. But did you also know that secretly planted in with many of the 2-pack turtle figures, NECA has been actually adding accessories in there that belong to Dirk Savage? For example, the cloth trap that came included with the Punk Frogs, the controller cuff that also came included with Mondo Gecko, has something also to do with the accessory that comes included with these two figures. This is, I believe, the control pad for that controller cuff for Mondo Gecko. It's certainly not something that belongs to either Toka and Rahzar, but will in fact belong to Dirk Savage when we eventually get that release. As you can see, it's all been molded here in purple plastic. I love the look of the screen here on the front. Some buttons here on the top, and again, nicely colored here in blue. It doesn't necessarily even have to be displayed either with Dirk Savage. If you would like, I almost even considered the idea of displaying this with maybe with like Shredder instead. But I love the idea that they always sneak in those little accessories, all unbeknownst to the collectors. Gonna put that to the side. Then in that episode with Dirk Savage, he actually lures away Toka and Rahzar, giving him a feast. And that's the reasoning why they come included with all of these. Is that a roast beast carved by the Grinch himself? Not quite, but it is nicely detailed here. It doesn't necessarily even, again, mean that you have to display them with either Toka and Rahzar. In fact, you could even set yourself up a little Thanksgiving Day table and even have all the turtles just sitting around that. It looks like there's some sausages, perhaps sliced potatoes or carrots. There's a couple of potatoes there on the side as well, and a big giant roast to slice. It looks like it's actually, in fact, been sliced already. Comes also included with a couple of legs. Obviously, you can see from the size, they're not really belonging to the roast. You get like a couple of turkey legs, drumsticks, for example. All of these actually can be wielded quite easily in the hands of Tokka and Rahzar with the hands that they actually come in the sockets with right now. The figure also comes included, or both figures come included as well, with a fish. Indicated by the fact there's a little X across the eyes tells you right away that the fish is dead. If the fish eye is cloudy, though, that's a fish you don't want to be eating. That's a little bit of sound advice when it comes to fish shopping. If it also smells like a fish, it doesn't smell like a fish, you should be okay as well. Again, any one of these accessories, you don't even necessarily need either of these hands that come included with the swappable hands. These hands are actually better suited for holding like the control pad. I mean, you sort of have to wedge it in between the fingers, and it sort of just rests against the thumb that way. Or, again, you can just put them into the hands. But really, like the hands that they have right now are perfectly serviceable for holding the drumsticks. And because of the plastic I've noticed with these, it's just me lately, I've noticed that NECA has really softened up the plastic for their hands. So when it comes to them holding accessories, for example, just pry the fingers away from the palm and then slide the turkey leg drumstick. Is that a turkey leg? Roadrunner leg? You easily can put that into their hands. Do the exact same thing also with Toka. Now, they don't have any weapons or anything that to speak of, but I mean, again, I like the idea that they actually throw in references to the cartoon, and they have a little bit of feast before they're captured. I'm going to go ahead and move the rest of those accessories out of the way. I guess we can also, too, take these legs from their hands. We don't need them for the rest of these reviews. We're just going to put that to the side and go ahead and take Toka's away as well. He's always hungry, always wanting to eat. Let's go ahead and pick up the figure. We're going to start things first here with Razar here. You know, it was the case, I think, when we looked at the Tokka and the Rahzar from the Secret of the Ooze line, that I think I ended up liking Tokka a lot more. And I almost feel the same way here looking at both Razar and Tokka. Razar's a nice-looking figure, but I think I actually like Tokka just that little bit more. The details and certainly color that they go with here for Razar's case is very cartoon accurate. It also bears very much of a resemblance to the Playmates Tokka and Rahzar we got before. Toka's, I believe, was also a remold and recast to that Slash turtle figure. I never had the Toka, but I certainly did have Slash. One thing, of course, obviously, is we're going to be looking at all of these figures. We're going to reach off just to the side here and bring in, again, the movie versions of each of these characters so you can see the difference between the two. Razar, at least from the movie verse, looks a lot hairier. While this one also did have an open and closed mouth, you'll be happy to know as well that Razar's mouth also does open and close. I like the fact that they've added the little fangs that stick out the bottom of his mouth. I love that. I think the detailing on these figures are fantastic. They mirror also as well. They carry over the shoulder pads, and he does also have the car grill on the front of his chest. While this one actually just sat fairly loose with the chains, Razar's here is more securely attached to the top of his torso. It also means, too, and when you look at the articulation of the figure, the actual cage, the front of the grill actually sticks a little bit further down, but because it's attached up here, you're not going to have any issues when it comes to the articulation on the figure. Again, bringing back in the figure, the original Razar also did have the front loincloth. That's been completely omitted altogether. Sort of in this case, Razar seems as if he's almost wearing a diaper. They've kind of put a little bit of an indicator that he has a little of that loincloth flap here on the front, but the colors are very much drastically changed. Where you've got the more darker grays and silvers added here for Razar. Razar, from the cartoon at least, uses more of the brighter colors. He's got more of the pastel yellow here for the front grille. He's got some yellow here added to the sides of his shoulders, and overall a very colorful looking character. Even to pick this figure up and not even display it as a Razar, but even just as a werewolf figure would definitely suit the bill as well. I love the head sculpt on this guy. The darker gray that they put around these eyes. The eyes are very bright and allows those pupils in the middle to be very much standing out. And again, I love the detailing on the inside of the mouth. The mouth doesn't open and close perhaps as the movie version of Razar, but again, like very nicely detailed from the folks over at NECA. I love the sculpting of the fur. Now, one thing obviously you're going to see with a lot of the carryover cartoon characters, that's a lot of C's. Wow. The whole backside of this is all going to be that darker shadowing. It's carried over for all of the figures we've pretty much gotten from the turtle verse, the cartoon verse. And of course, when it comes to Razar and Toka, they got the exact same thing. So like on Razar's, for example, he's got very much the darker brown here on the back and a lighter brown here on the front. And you see even more of it as I just move his arm out of the way. Again, very dark on the back, lighter here on the front. Nice looking figure though. I even like the little touches of having the ripped shirt there along the top that he has. Very, very cool looking figure though. Not as much as I like as Toka, you know, again, but still a nice looking figure nonetheless. For the articulation here for Razar, his head's going to be on a ball joint, so technically it could rotate all the way around. The figure does have a mouth that does open and close. I know we've already discussed that with some nice detailing on the inside of his mouth. Get a good gander at that. Woo! Wolf breath. His shoulders do come out. Now, they are going to be admittingly a little bit more limited, just because of the size of the shoulder and, of course, the fact he does have the shoulder pad. It really does prevent the figure's arms from coming out. I can only really pull them at about a 45, not quite a 90. 90 is up here, right? 45 degrees. Arms rotate at least, though, all the way around. He does have a bicep swivel, which is really, really tight in this figure. Figure does have a double hinge on the elbow. And the figure also has rotation on the hands. All these little soft chains, for example, again, are soft or plastic. And he's got the little guards there on the front of his forearms. Very, very cool looking figure. Upper torso is on a ball joint. I didn't realize that Razar had such a six-pack going on there. The lower half actually isn't as soft as what I was thinking it was going to be. I thought this would be more of a softer diaper, but the plastic that they've actually put on here is a much harder variety. Figures do have a leg split. Razar has a leg split. You can move the legs forward and back. Mild swivel, of course, at the top of the thigh. Figure has a double hinge on the knee, and he does have the articulation in the foot and back and forth. He does have peg holes also on the undersides of his feet, in case you guys were interested. So that is Razar. Nice looking figure, but I think, honestly, I like Toka a little bit more. Just hopefully getting him to stand. Picking up Toka right now, getting a closer look at this figure. Yeah, there's a lot more to like on this one. Now, I did say that it was cartoon accurate. I think, in fact, in the episode, his skin is a little bit darker than what we're getting here. This is kind of more of a mustard yellow, a very pastel yellow. Again, you've got the more silhouetted shadow here in the back of his body. The spikes certainly aren't as sticking out, aren't as profound, perhaps, as the Toka that we get from the movieverse. Again, bringing in Toka right now. I remember how spiky these spikes, every single time, in fact, actually, I pick Toka up off the shelf. I always have to kind of grab him from the legs, because if I grab him from the back of his shell, I always end up pricking my skin. Not certainly something that's going to be drawing blood, but you can see that they make that a little tamer there on the back of the cartoon version of Toka. The details, face-wise, at least, are very similar. If you were, again, to take Toka and put him into the... In the episode, in fact, they seem a little bit more well-rounded, a little bit smarter than the less smart versions of that, as they would appear. They're more babies. They're babies in the Secret of the Ooze. They're not as much that in the actual cartoon episode. But again, like, you see very much the similarities between the two. Toka, though, here did have the articulation here on the eyebrow, which was kind of a neat thing that they did include. And of course, remember when we had a look at this figure, he did also have a mouth that opened. Although it was a little harder to get behind the little lip that, remember, this part could actually, I'm not going to take it off. Too scary to see. But this one also is nice to see that has the same articulation in the mouth. You can take the mouth and open it up, and it opens a lot greater than when we looked at Razar. Ooh. Snapdragon breath. It's not snapdragon, snap turtle breath. You can see all the nicely sculpted teeth painted here in yellow. He probably needs a good brushing. And again, the panel lining that they put around the eyes is fantastic. In fact, even though both of them have the panel lining, it seems to stand out a lot better here on Toka. Primarily because of the fact that the figure does have the lighter color skin. Again, all the nice little details. He's got some shurikens. Let's just move his arms out of the way. Sorry, let's just move his arms out of the way. He's got the shurikens there on the side of his belt. Couple of skull and crossbones, and a foot logo right in the middle here. I really should have actually brought the figure out for this example, but I believe this one shares the same body, or a lot of the same mold, as that Slash figure we got before, which is somewhat ironic, because it also shared, the Playmates version of Toka shared similar molds, if not all the same mold, as the Slash figure that they also released before. I think that's a nice little fun nod. Detailing, again, you got all these little kind of blisters, these little marks, like little circular shapes that they've outlined here in black. And again, he's got it all over his body. I really like that they've also sculpted that. They didn't take the time to actually, like, all these little bumps, they're not blisters, they're bumps. All the bumps that he has across his body aren't simply just suggested by outlining in black. No, in fact, they've lifted it. How close are we going to get on this? How close are we going to get on that? You can see that they've actually lifted it from the skin. So I think that's really fun. The fact that, yeah, they probably will be using this. Again, there's that cartoon version of Slash that we will be looking at in an upcoming review. And of course, I'm going to bring this guy back in when we do a review of this guy as well. For the articulation here for cartoon Toka, now his head's going to rotate, but it's going to rotate not quite the same way as Razar. It actually rotates this way, all the way around. Figure does also have the mouth. I know we established that. does have the mouth hinge that opens and closes. Figure arm, again, is going to be a little more on the limited side, just because, again, first of all, he's got a very broad shoulder to work with, but then he's also got, again, these spiked shoulder pads too. Again, you can rotate the arm back and forth, but you're going to notice, especially when you're rotating the arm, that it's going to butt up against the back of his shell. The figure does have a bicep swivel. Once again, the figure does have also a double hinge on the elbow, once again, and the hands do rotate all the way around. The articulation on this guy also, I'm just going to move him to the side. In between the two half shells and, of course, the belt, he does have articulation, but you're really not going to be able to do much of anything with it. It is in there, but it's more just suggested than anything else. You're really not going to be able to move it. The legs do split the same way as Razar. You can, again, take the legs and move them forward and back. There's a swivel at the top of the thigh, double hinge on the knee, which is a little tight on this figure. And he also has the ankle articulation going both this way and this way as well. For the final look, well, let's go ahead, not quite the final look, but the final look before we get to the final look. Let's just get Toka to stand here properly. And once again, bring in their movie counterparts. Here's what he looks like next to Toka. Toka's really back heavy. And here's what he also looks like. Here's what Razar looks like next to movie Razar. If given the choice, I would obviously still take the movie-verse versions of both of these characters, as the detailing that NECA put into these, some of the best, I think, for what they've done with the turtle line. I do like the idea that, at least first of all, that Tokka and Rahzar eventually did make their appearance. Dǝvᴉous Savage, of course, we are going to be getting him eventually as a figure. And I love the idea that, once again, NECA throws in all these little Easter eggs. All this time, Dǝvᴉous Savage Easter eggs with all of the 2-pack releases. Well, many of the 2-pack releases. Not all of them, many of them. Again, while I do think these ones a lot more, I am happy, though, that NECA did eventually give us Tokka and Rahzar as they appear in the cartoon. Though I think it's only as one appearance in the cartoon. It was one and we're done. We at least finally get ourselves cartoon representations of both Razar and Toka. Actually, looking at this set a little bit later, it did in fact benefit this video. For all the references I would have done to Dǝvᴉous Savage, I'm sure I would have also said, man, you know, it would have been nice if NECA could also release it, and I could stop myself abruptly mid-sentence, knowing that at least NECA is planning to release a Dǝvᴉous Savage. Because not only does it reference this episode with the first and only appearance, I believe, of Tokka and Rahzar, but secretly sliding in their accessories from previous 2-packs. Again, the foot trap that came included with the Punk Frogs, the control cuff that came included with Mondo Gecko, are all belonging to Dǝvᴉous Savage. If we're going to get all those little Easter eggs, at some point you would have thought, see, I can stop myself mid-sentence. We are getting ourselves a Dǝvᴉous Savage figure. Super excited for that. Now, obviously here in Final Looks, the final looks of the final looks, I've got Tokka and Rahzar feasting as it would have appeared in the episode. Dǝvᴉous Savage sort of lures them away. I don't know if I would say like the platter of food that they come included with match the platter that actually is in that episode. I'm going to have to go back and watch that again. I think the food platter in that episode looks kind of spoiled. Like the food looks like it's not food you probably should be eating. I mean, it's probably fine for the consumption for Tokka and Rahzar, but not good for human consumption. This platter actually looks a little bit more pleasing to the eye. Julia Child would be looking at that and be very impressed. She'd applaud and say that's a fine looking feast. I'm glad to see that they actually included little food bits. Again, it's not something that you have to necessarily display with Tokka and Rahzar. I mean, why not use it to display with somebody else? You can use either one of the turkey legs. I might even consider using that turkey leg, for example, with Rocksteady. That seems strange. Again, you can do whatever you want when it comes to these. The accessories aren't necessarily married to these figures. If you want to use them for something else, use them for something else. As it comes to certainly this set, this is a set I would recommend to the diehard collectors of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the cartoon series that we've been getting from NECA this whole time. I mean, obviously, if you're invested in The Secret of the Ooze and you like Tokka and Rahzar, then you're probably already going to be getting this set for yourself anyways. But I think casual collectors are probably only going to be picking out select figures. I don't know if I would say this is a set dedicated to casual collectors, but certainly if you're a diehard fan of the TMNT cartoon line like I have been, this is a great set to be picking up. Even if the characters really in question here, I think only appear in that one and we're done episode, it's nice that we actually did get ourselves plastic representations of these released from the folks over at NECA. What do you guys think of this set? Let me know down below in the comments section. And what other non-released NECA figure, talking a little bit about Dǝvᴉous Savage, what other figure would you like to see NECA release that had appeared, maybe even if it's just one episode? Maybe if it's just even in the one episode, we'll count that. What other character have you seen in a turtle cartoon that would you like to see NECA release as a figure? Let me know down below in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video, hit it with a like. If you're loving the content you're seeing and certainly want to stick around for more, then make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and turn on the bell notification. Well, we have wrapped up the review right now of Cartoon Toka, Cartoon Rahzar. There's definitely going to be a lot more NECA reviews coming your way. Maybe even some turtle cartoon figures as well coming your way. So as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.